It's your girl
Black
Diamond.
Diamond.
Black Diamond.
A different point of view for someone who's lived it. I think her name was Drea, who was the adoptive parent. She hit it kind of right on the head there. The first thing that I will say is, one, before we have these conversations, I need you guys to understand the differences in adoption, right? Because you guys, earlier someone was saying, I forget who it was, but someone was saying that they'll just place Black children with anybody, a single person, a religious person. That is foster care adoption. So foster care adoption is completely different than privatized adoption. And foster care adoption, they do place Black children with almost anyone. And a lot of you guys don't understand the legalities of foster care adoption. If you are in a sibling group of 2 or more children and you're Black, you are automatically a level 3 or 4. And when you are these different levels, that's how much stipends that the state will pay these foster parents, right? So there's usually level 1 through 5. Most kids who are non-Black start off at level 1 to 2. If you are a Black child and you have a sibling group of 2 or more, you are automatically level 3 or 4. Now, why is that an issue? That's an issue is because they're automatically placing troubled child onto you. They're automatically saying you're a troubled child, right? So we really need to understand the differences between private adoption and foster care adoption. Private adoption, Black children are the cheapest. I believe that was Big Trina saying that. That is true. There's a price list for Black children. They're the cheapest people. In privatized adoptions, Black children are less likely to be adopted privately, more likely to be adopted from the foster care system because there is a attachment of that stipend check, right? So I just wanted to kind of concrete that first. The next thing that I wanted to kind of circle back on what Drea said is adoption is not a monolith. I personally, if you ask me, do I believe that white people can adopt Black children? Yes, with work. And that part of that work is unpacking your internalized racism. Part of that work is understanding systemic racism and what your child will go through and their parents have gone through. And then lastly, is really understanding that you don't know everything. You will need the Black community to help you. That's the basis of it. What we find are if people saying, oh, I love my child, love is enough. Love is not even enough to keep married people together. We have a divorce rate of almost 60%, and these are 2 adults that loved each other and still could not make it work. So how do we think that love is going to be enough when we have an adult adopting a stranger child and forcing that relationship? So what I educate at a collegiate level, I'm going to October to Seattle to speak in front of 11,000 doctors and psychologists about this exact situation, right? Love is not enough, but white people, if they want to put their internalized racism aside and educate themselves and know that even with the most education, they still won't be able to parent fully. They will need a village. They will need a Black woman, especially if you have a Black daughter. You're going to need a Black woman to help that child understand what they're going through. One thing, and I'll end it with this, and if you guys have any questions, I can answer them. But when you think about who's qualified to take care of a child, being Black, in my opinion, it is almost a disability in this country. It is almost a disability, especially if you are a Black child being raised by white people in a white neighborhood. If you say, are you qualified or not? Ask yourself, would you adopt a child with cerebral palsy and you didn't do any research on cerebral palsy? You didn't care if they were Black, white, blue, green. You just wanted a child. You just wanted to help a child. Would that be the best fit for that child if you've done no research on cerebral palsy, if you've not even understood what the disease or this disorder is? Or would it be better for us to require these people to be well informed on the child and the child's needs before they come into the home? So that's kind of like my give on it. I do believe that white people can adopt Black children, but it's very rare that they do it right. And the ones that do it right know that they need the Black community to support them.
What was your experience, Carlos, with your whitey adopted family? And do you still have a good relationship or any relationship with them at this time, if you don't mind?
I was in 37 foster homes. I was in Black homes, Asian homes, Latino homes, white homes. And it's not a monolith. Some of the white people were great people. Some of the white people were like literally racist. Some of the Black people were the worst, but then some of them were fantastic. It comes down to the person and why they're doing the work, why they're helping children. In my personal experience, my adopted mother had 15 miscarriages. She wanted a child and an alternative. Unfortunately, it didn't work out too well for us because of just specific things that happen, like rebirthing therapy. Have you guys ever heard of rebirthing therapy? If you've never heard of rebirthing therapy, a lot of Black and adopted children, specifically Black children, we are forced to rebirth with our parents. If you've ever seen Law and Order SVU, and they have that episode of that little girl getting wrapped up in blankets and like they're screaming at her and they suffocate her. That's actually real. That's a therapy that is suggested for transracial adoptees because they want us to literally be born through them. They want us to be a part of them. Another thing that I believe Big Trina added which was me. I was 9 years old when I was adopted, so I already knew who I was. I knew my black parents. I knew my black family. I spoke AAVE, right? My adoptive parents, as you can hear, I don't speak AAVE anymore as my regular dialect because it was beaten out of me. I was told I sounded ghetto. I was told I would never end up anywhere besides jail or in a grave if I did not leave my blackness behind.
Who were you beaten by?
My parents, my family, my neighbors, the priest, the nuns at the school, everyone. I was the only black child in my entire town. What was that, Diamond?
You said you were the only black child in your entire town?
The only black person in my entire town. I lived in a small town in Western Michigan of about 3,500 people. It's called Allegan, Michigan. You guys can go and look it up. They are hyper religious people. And yeah, it was bad. It was pretty bad. And the thing is, I think Trina said it, or maybe Drea said it. My parents don't believe in racism exists. They don't believe that colorism exists. When they adopted me at 9 years old, they told me that I would be the Republican Barack Obama. They told me that I would be a quote good one. And they did this. And I believe that some white adoptive parents adopt black children as to use us as a Trojan horse into our own communities so we can become adults. Candace Owens, our own communities. That happens often because we were raised with the right? And we want to be a good one. So we go and we become adults and then we vote red and we don't believe in body autonomy and women's rights. And it has taken me almost 15 years to understand that it was kind of like I was brainwashed into their culture. Not only just brainwashed, they beat it into me. So it does happen. It's not a monolith. So I'm not saying this is every white person's going to do this, but I will let you know it does happen.
Okay.
Can I do commercial break? Please, I love it.
What's so funny about that?
1 second, guys. I'm going to do a commercial break. Hold on, guys. Fine, Diamond, I'll do it later.
I can tell you why it's funny to me, because he's literally saying for the better. For the better was beaten out of you. How does someone beat that out of you? I know the examples.
Every time that you better words.
Okay, so
every time it's not for the better. It is,
you asked me, so
wait.
speaking proper is an issue. We do that to each other.
But speaking in an AAVE
You
is also
literally
not an
said you
issue.
was beat. No, but you said you were beaten out. They beat you out of that. You come from an environment where there was a negative. There's a stigma on you. There's a stigma on us. If them considering, for example, like sagging. Maybe you're not going to be the one that's sagging. Maybe not going to be the one that talks hood.
Not engaged.
Or any of those things. Why would them beating that out of you? That's
Karlos,
what you mean?
No, I got it.
To me, literally, that
so
was
here's the
funny.
thing.
When I say your final words, that means someone paid to drop you. Do not blame Diamond. Mr. Washington, honey, you got to say your final words.
Thank God.
That's fine. Thank you, Miss Diamond. Stay groovy. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.
TheBlackDiamondShow.com.